and welcome to the latest episode of New Londinium 1910, where I am basically building a steampunkish city in the... Okay, that was... weird, unexpected, but not entirely unexpected. So, if you've been watching any of my Minecraft Let's Play series recently, you know that about a month or two ago, the planets aligned and the seas opened up, and basically I was able to update all the bits finally, including Distant Horizons. But ever since then, I've been having some performance issues, and I've been slowly dialing that down to the point where it's tolerable. But I just updated it again, and now, even though I'm running on the mode where it can update itself once every blue moon, it's still causing hiccups. So we'll see how this goes. To be interesting. But anyway, the point of this episode is let's just get the outer shell of this place done. I didn't end. I'm saying because I'm surprised here. I have a bunch of white concrete powder. I was actually intending to have to go on a run to go get sand and gravel to make white concrete to finish. So I'm actually in much better shape than I thought. All I really need to do is chop down some trees from wood, and I think I have everything on hand already to finish the outer shell of the manor house. Now, let's talk about the manor house, because this is what I have said all along to be my short-term temporary base, but short-term and temporary are in quotes because this is a really big project. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a forever project. So there will come a day where I will move operations to New Londinium itself, but since New Londinium is just a little tiny hole in the floor, in the ground, it's not ready to be a base in any way, shape, or form. So what I'm building here will be it for a good chunk of time. And let's grab this stuff, because as you know, I'm a big fan of rich soil. And rich soil requires straw, and straw comes out of the wheat, the flax from Supplementaries mod, and a few other crops. So we need that to make the rich soil. And plus, you know, we also, along that same lines, we need to throw a bunch of stuff into the composter to get bone meal. So this will help with that too. And there's the flax from Supplementaries. So, that's a lag. There it is. Now you notice I'm getting experience from farming. That is deliberate. There is a mod I've added that enables that, and as I mentioned before, I do that because my play style involves a lot of building, not necessarily a lot of combat, and you don't get experience points for building. So a big chunk of my play style is also, you know, taking care of chores at home, farming, stuff like that. So I added the experience for farming. Anyway, so here's the deal. The manor house is we've been working on it for a while now, right? And part of that is because in my Let's Play series, I don't skip anything. So if you didn't see it on camera, it didn't happen in the game world. And for this is what, episode 14, 15. That means I've been in this game world for 14 or 15 hours, right? And for with my old play style, and actually the way some people run their channels, that would be the amount of work that they put into one project for one episode. But my philosophy here is it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So we're on the journey. And that's a bunch of seeds. And I maxed out on wheat as well. If I can ever open this barrel. There it goes. So, we're going to be building a windmill, and all this flax comes in handy for making wool. We'll need the wool for the vanes of the windmill using the create mod. Anyway, so as I was saying about the manor house, the interesting thing is that while this is meant to be my temporary but long-term base, it is just overall, it's just a very, very, very tiny piece of the overall project, the overall effort, or at least what I have planned. But the irony is that I am further along in this effort, in this build, than I ever was in the actual series I did for actually building a base like this. And that would be Griffin Hall, which died a horrible and fiery and inglorious end, and Griffin Manor, which didn't really die. It's just that we got to a point where we wanted to move to 1.21, and it was in we wanted to move to 1.20, the version I'm in now, and it was in 1.19.2, and I tried to migrate that world. It was painful, so I'm here instead. Didn't mean to get a pickle, but I guess we'll take the pickles. So that's where we stand now. Some next step, since we're close to finishing the exterior, the next step obviously is the interior. But there are a few details I would like to finish, and one of these is I used the flower seeds mod to make poppy seeds, which I just planted to grow a bunch of poppies. And the reason I do that is that while we will finish the exterior, I need to do something with this rye. I got a bunch of rich soil, so one of the even when we're going to be having to work a lot on the interiors, there are some exterior details I'd like to add. The rest of the row I just didn't. Oh, okay. Some of it didn't happen. And one of those is flower boxes. Now, I might have mentioned this in an earlier episode, but these Tudor style open timber frame houses. They're actually common throughout Europe from the Middle Ages, and one of the things I really love on these houses in real life are when they have these when they plant flower boxes outside the windows, right? I just dig that look. I really, really dig it, so much so that I'm going to replicate it here. And I might have mentioned that, right? I'm going to do that. But the funny thing is while this series, with a name like New Londinium and everything I've done so far, it has a very British or specifically English flair or flavor to it. Man, this latency is not fun. While it has a very English flavor to it, you don't really see these types of flower boxes too much in English houses like this, but you do see flower boxes like this a lot in like Bavaria and Austria, where they also are pretty keen on their open timber buildings. So this is my little diversion from the the theme, a little artistic license, I guess you can say. And then we'll just go ahead and replace this entire field with the rich soil. And where's the hole? There it is. Lag. But it'll catch up. The thing about hoeing is when the latency's over, all the stuff you hoed catches back up. As opposed to when you're mining blocks, most of the blocks get unmined. So there you go. Don't have quite enough to fill the whole field, but now that it'll be growing faster, we will get seeds more often and fill this up. No time at all. It's quite a lot of potatoes. I think I need to switch to baked potatoes for now. I mean, vanilla Minecraft people start off with bread and or baked potatoes and then work your way to steaks. But I have a wealth of cooking mods which we will employ, just not at the moment. So for now, yeah, we'll probably do the baked potatoes, but eventually we'll do things like kebabs and chicken sandwiches and a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be good. And it's been a while since I ate, so now I'm making myself hungry, which I need to stop doing that. Especially at this time of night, you can't go eating especially at my age, you can't go eating a big meal or any meal late at night, because then if you go to bed, it just sits there, right? Just goes straight to your waist. And I have enough waste for 2 people, so we don't want to do that. It would just be a waste. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You know how it goes. It's late. I'm doing this late, and I'm partly hallucinatory, delusional. I don't know. Any of those work. Take your pick. So, this ought to be fun with the latency. I'm probably going to wind up cutting down the same tree 3 times with a single axe. And just waiting for it. See? Anyway. So, oh boy. So with the with that concrete, we should be able to finish out the basic roof pattern. Now, in a previous episode, I explained that the view that I show at the beginning and end of the video, that's from the front and back. And from that view, we've already kind of set up where the end of the gables will be and where there will be windows and stuff. And that's straightforward. That's not going to change. Oh boy. But I also mentioned that on the sides of the house, right, the roof is just a straight shot, just one straight slope. And that's a lot of real estate to be showing with the same block without break, right? And I don't like that. So I mentioned that we'll put in dormers. And if you haven't heard this before, dormers are, you've seen them, you probably just don't know the name of them. It's there. If you look at these gabled roofs, roofs with these slants, The dormers are usually kind of like little, they look like little rooms with a window that pop out of the side of the roof, right? And if you've ever been in a house with dormers, they're usually cool little nooks for, like, you know, reading or whatever. I dig them. They're especially common in older houses. But that's what I'll use to break up the roof line. I think it'll look great, but we're not doing that today. We're trying to just get the rest of the roof finished. And the reason is I want to get the roof finished and see how it looks before I decide how many dormers and where the dormers will go, right? It's in this case it's about lines, and it's complicated by the fact that I put the fireplaces on the inside. Well, obviously on the inside, but deep in the interior of the building. So they run. The way fireplaces traditionally work is if you have multiple stories, they are all connected to a single chimney system, right? You don't want to run multiple systems of chimneys. The same way you don't want to run multiple pipes of water, right? It's like why your bathrooms have a tendency to be generally all in a line. That way they just run the pipes to all of them at the same time. Same thing here. We want to run chimneys to all align. And the point in this is when it comes to the roof, there's an attic space, but I plan for it to be a big enough attic space that that there's room for the chimneys or the fireplaces, right? And then the chimneys. And that means that is going to dictate the placement of living space or rooms up there, right? Because if I have a chimney, I can't place a dormer right next to it, especially if it blocks access to the dormer. So the chimneys are up there, and once the roof's done, we'll have to see how the logistics work. So those extra dormers will probably get added when I start working on the interior living space in the attic. But it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I mean, I've done this enough times. I've done it enough times that I haven't like memorized formulas in my head, but I have done it enough times that I'm confident in my ability to adapt to this layout. So this is interesting. The lag is cramping my style here. See, so I'm watching. There we go. Yeah, so first of all, there was some type of bug that was popping up that was cutting out the sound when I do this normally in previous episodes, and that's not a problem. But now with the Distant Horizons thing, I can see my arms flailing and stuff flying around, but the numbers weren't changing, and then boom, they change all of a sudden and catch up. Again, I don't mind too much if everything works out in the end, and it looks like it will here. So, but yeah, we want to split all this bark off of this stuff. Bark is a useful resource. So, just building with the logs without taking the bark off, that's just like leaving money on the table. And you don't want to do that. Especially in this day and age where money seems to be harder and harder to come by. Okay. Okay, I think that takes care of all of that. I'll drop off this rich soil. And let's grab all these little bits. And I think I'll grab yeah, let's grab a couple of these. You'll see why in a minute. Okay. I'm going to try something new here. With the concrete powder, you need to make it, you need to get it wet to make it into concrete. Now, normally in previous episodes, I laid out rows of these things and then dump buckets of water between the rows, and that would go ahead and moisten 2 rows of white concrete at a time. Then I thought about it and I said, well, maybe if I just made a really tall tower and dumped a bucket of water on top and let it dribble down the sides, that would do the same thing, and then I just cut all the way down. But this has the potential to be disastrous. Almost disastrous. How about that? Okay, so that mostly worked out as planned. No autopsy, no foul. That's what I say. I just realized that there is a flaw in my plan in that my pickaxe is going to die before I get to it. I mean, I've got a diamond one, and so that shouldn't be a problem. But, you know, I don't like using the diamond one because, you know, it is enchanted. I do believe I have the mending enchantment on it, so I could restore it. But, you know, it's like bringing a howitzer to for target shooting. You know, it's too much. It's a waste. Not an intentional, or not an intentional waste joke. Just it is though. It does go faster. I'll give you that. Okay, so I think we have all the bits necessary. So, making sure I'm not forgetting something here. Huh. I'm looking at the gravel and it's telling me the dirt. Oh, there we go. So I have 11 gravel. I have plenty of cobblestone. So, okay. I don't need much. And I think that's it. This interior is turning out to be quite cozy. I'm starting to kind of wish that I lived here in real life, right? The wooden floors, yeah. Of course, the view's not fabulous. It's not bad though. Okay, I'm trying to bring up my backpack and it's not backpacking here. So let's try this again. And for whatever reason, it has restored its old keybind, so I'll put it back on 0. Don't know why that happened. Okay, so it's working now. There's all the stuff I have in my main backpack. So this is reminding me, as I see all that stuff in my backpack, that one of the first things we'll do after we finish the shell, I mean, that, as you can see, the interior has a lot of space that needs to be detailed, and that's not a problem. We'll get to that. But one of the first things, and one of the primary reasons this little base is going to exist, is storage. And we will get to that. When I was going through my the storage I have a minute ago, I saw that I had some amethyst, so I think I have everything I need. And by the way, you see what these blocks are, but if that reminds you of anything, if you feel compelled to suddenly act in some way, why, by all means, please do so. But yeah, when it took a long time for the sound to catch up. So now the thing about the storage is I'm using storage drawers. Bouncing around in the different mods, I really wanted to say refined storage, which I am using in another mod, but no, or another playthrough. So using storage drawers, and they have I love storage drawers. I really love storage drawers, especially when combined with other mods that are meant to interface with storage, because with storage drawers, each individual drawer will hold only one type of item, and you can have multiple drawers in a single block, up to 4, but I usually just do 1, because I like to maximize my drawers. But the beauty is then the controllers that connect the system all together act not only as an input-output, but they appear as an inventory item. And when you combine that with something like, say, Ars Nouveau, which will interface with a single inventory, if the single inventory it's interfacing with is one of these controllers, it accesses everything in your system, which is fabulous. Now, in this case, I'm running storage drawers just as storage drawers, so there's nothing, there's no extra interface or anything added. So the thing that I want to do, the thing that I typically do in that case, is getting stuff out of storage is very manual. And for a steampunk world, that type of manual physicality is actually very much in keeping with it, right? If you want cobblestone, then go to the cobblestone drawer and get it. But it doesn't have to be that way for putting stuff in. And I think one of the biggest hassles with storage is, especially in modded Minecraft, but even in vanilla Minecraft, you come in from a hard day out doing whatever it is you do, your pockets are full of all sorts of different items, and you come back to base and you want to put your stuff away, but you can't just throw everything in one big chest. Obviously that doesn't work, aside from the first day. But if everything's sorted, now you got to run around to 400 different chests. And the beauty behind like storage drawers, what I typically do is I set it up so that there is an input box, so you can turn around and open that box and just dump your pockets in there, and then it goes into the controller, and then everything gets automatically routed to the appropriate drawer, and it works fabulous. Now, usually my networks are separated by a lot of distance, so typically I have multiple networks for different uses. Like there would usually be how am I going to handle this? I think I just need to come in just a little bit. I'll need more windows, but there will be the most windows right here on the edge. So I need to come in 1, 2, 1, 2, and then okay, and then at least 5. So with a frame in the middle. We do that over here. So I'll have 2 windows that are 2 blocks wide and 2 blocks tall for each. Anyway, so this, so I usually would have separate networks handling different stuff. Usually when I run that type of config, there would be the kitchens would be up at the, with the underground base setup. The kitchens would be toward the top, and the main storage would be toward the bottom. So one system you could put stuff into, and it would send food items and cooked items to the kitchens, the kitchen transport system at the top, and everything else goes in the other one, and that all goes down to main storage and gets sorted. Now, space isn't, first of all, everything's in the same place. I don't think there's any reason to split everything into multiple specialized networks here. 2, I have another issue in that when we talk about like the underground base, there's the building's on a little bit of a more grand scale, right? So, part of it is functionality, and part of it is it looks cool. And here, though, I am trying to go for functionality and looking cool, but it's a much smaller space. I mean, it's a big house, right? You see most people's base or starting house in a Minecraft world that's like about the size of one of my rooms. But yes, this is still small compared to what I would normally build in, and as a result, I don't have a lot of like super thick walls or anything where I can hide chutes and systems like I do in a larger build. I mean, New Londinium is so crazy big that I will definitely have multiple storage systems, and it, ouch, I thought I would make the jump. I would have multiple storage systems, and they're going to be somewhat specialized, and that's, you know, I've already been thinking about that, because there is a trick to it. You could have stuff move from storage system to storage system, and it could be, there we go, it could be somewhat automated, but it takes some planning up front, and I've been thinking about that for a while. But so there's plenty of opportunity to hide the strings in that case, but here there isn't. So I'm trying to figure out how I would do that. And when you build a system like this, where, you know, you just kind of come in from traveling and drop stuff off, that is backwards. Okay. The goal would be that you would set those drop-off stations someplace that's really easy and convenient, right? So, like in the case of Griffin Manor, if you watched that series, you saw me set this up, and there is I was, you know, building the full-on underground base, you know, pretty typical of what I normally do, and there's a central elevator shaft, and at each floor of the elevator shaft there was 2 cabinets, one on the left, one on the right, and one cabinet was red, and if you put food stuff in it, it got carried back up to the top where it would be, you know, distributed in the kitchen storage, and the other one was a dark oak cabinet, and if you put anything else in that, it would go down to the main storage level and get sorted there. And that's the type of drop off I'm talking about. That just, it's so much easier to just, you know, empty your pockets into a single chest or something and then run off and go do what you want to do, than spend, you know, 5, 10, 15 minutes every single time you get back dropping stuff off, which is, you know, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Of course, my storage here and in Greifenhorst and from the rubble, they're still pretty small, so it's not that big of a problem, but I'm also running out of storage, and that is a big of a problem. So, you know, this is where we're headed with this. But yeah. Now, if you think storage is tricky in Minecraft, storage and inventory, yes, modded Minecraft, it gets even worse. But if you think it's tricky now, let me just tell you, I've been playing around with Vintage Story, which is it started off as a Minecraft add-on, and now it's its own game. Has been for a while, and it's a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that some other time. But I will tell you this: it's heavily based on survival mechanics, right? And with that said, if you've ever played Terra Firmacraft in Minecraft, right? The Terra Firmacraft mod, you get it. You have a much closer idea what this game's like. And let me tell you, storage and inventory, it's brutal. That's not right. Will I be able to get under here enough to put on well, first of all, let me just get this done. Okay. Can I? How? Well, let's figure it out. So if I do, yeah. Okay. In the corner. And then I can't, yeah, I gotta be down on the edge here. Let's see if I have enough room for me and the block. Yeah. Okay. I gotta do it on the other side. Anyhow, the whole point of Vintage Story is like when you start off, you have a hotbar like you do in Minecraft, where you can put stuff, but that's it. You don't have an inventory, right? You don't, you can't open your backpack. Now you eventually can, but not to start, right? Because you. So when you start, you don't have, you literally have nothing, just the clothes you're wearing. So you don't even have that inventory. Now you can make some items like backpacks and baskets and stuff that can go into these container slots. And once you put something in a container slot, now you do have an inventory you can open, but it's going to be, the size available is based off of what containers you put into it. And if that doesn't sound challenging enough, right? That's just the storage and inventory on you. When it comes to something like this, well, they don't have, like big, crazy technology mods like Minecraft does. Because, that's kind of like what the game's not about. But, so, the things you make, the containers you make to store stuff in your base, you have very limited options, and they too are very limited in size. So a good chunk of your time is spent trying to figure out where to put stuff, and then add to that a lot of the stuff you want to put someplace, like say food or leather hides, right? Skins, pelts. These are things that often have a freshness factor. So like if you skin an animal, in Minecraft, you get the leather automatically. In that game, you skin the animal, and then you get a raw hide. And if you don't do anything with that raw hide, it will eventually go bad. So you've got to process it in one of a couple different ways. Am I going to get this? Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, so... but another thing that they have for inventory and storage is they have what they call ground storage, which means you can set stuff on the ground. Like in Minecraft, you could put a block on the ground. You could put an inventory block on the ground. But if I just was to dump a bunch of building materials on the ground, they do their little floaty, spinny thing, and then they despawn, and then I'm out those materials. But now look at that. That is what I'm talking about. But in Vintage Story, I don't know if I can say most, certainly a lot of items have this ability to be ground storage, right? And with ground storage, you can set something on the ground and it won't despawn. It's just there, right? And that's kind of cool because that is a bit more like real life. And that's what the mod, not the mod, the game is after, right? It's after a little more realism. Stop and think about it, right? A minute ago, I was looking at my stored cobblestone, and I have 5,000 blocks of stored cobblestone, or 3,000 blocks, or whatever that number was. But, look, I have a house, and it has, let's say, 3,000 cubic meters of cobblestone stored in it. That would basically take over the whole house. The whole house would be filled wall to wall with cobblestone, not to mention all the other stuff I have. And but if you had to do the ground storage, then that kind of brings it home in a way that is more tangible and relatable, right? Because of course, I'll get it in a second. I've always wondered how we're going to justify, in a typical Minecraft inventory, how I can justify that I'm carrying literally thousands of cubic meters of something in my pocket. And besides the fact that it's obviously, I can obviously fit that much stuff in that little space, it's not weighing me down either, right? It's a game. And there's abstraction in the game. In fact, there's a lot of abstraction in Vintage Story too. But you know, at some point we have to, you know, draw a line in the sand and say, here's where the realism stops and there's where playability starts. I'm cool with that. So, you know, some people want this to be as close to real life as possible. But I mean, if you want to get that crazy, yeah, I just want to take another look at this. I'm liking it. If you want to get that crazy, you know, you should go, of course. Looks like we go downstairs now to go get the blocks I dropped. But you know, if you want to get that crazy, you should probably like hook up some type of peripheral to your PC so that when you take damage, it like, you know, punches you in the stomach or, you know, cuts you or something, right? I mean, there's a reason that we play games, because it abstracts away things that we couldn't do or shouldn't do in real life, you know, without getting seriously hurt or killed. Okay. You know, playing Minecraft with the shaders and then going through, you know, these spaces, these cozy spaces. One of my favorite times of the day, I guess mornings too, but really it's the afternoons that really peg me, right? And so when you have one of those sunny days, oops, I'm yakking and not paying attention. When you have one of those sunny days, you know, summer days, especially autumn days, right? Where it's the afternoon and the sun's streaming through the windows, you know, and you kind of see like the dust particles hanging in the air, lazily swirling in the air. That, I mean, I live for days like that. And Minecraft with, almost said Microsoft, Minecraft with shaders running can get you a lot of that ambiance in a game, which I find, oh boy, which I find ultra cool. Oh, that delayed damage is just too funny. It's like, did I fall? Did I hurt? Snack. Yeah, I got hurt. Okay, let's do this. I will make stairs out of my crafting tables. If I get my crafting table. It's here, right? Oh, there it is. Okay. And then, you know, like I was saying, you get, if you spend some time building a space that you would like to be in real life, you add that shader support for the extra ambience and stuff, you can kind of really lose yourself in the immersion. You lose yourself into the moment. And I think for a lot of us, that I think a lot of people play these games for exactly what I was saying, right? It allows you to be in a place and do things that you want to do, but either those things or places don't truly exist in real life, or they're too hazardous or boring or whatever to do in real life. And that immersion factor is maybe why we keep playing the game, maybe why we have a lot of fun with it. I mean, here I am on the roof and I'm dropping these pieces, but I'm looking past the roof at a distant horizon. And that's probably why I'm going to keep putting up with this add-on until they make it absolutely unbearable, because that, not only am I looking at that distant horizon, and it looks great. It looks great. I believe my in-game render and simulation radius is actually 14 chunks. So you're looking at all that stuff way out there. That's definitely further out than 14 chunks, and yet it looks like it does, thanks to distant horizons. You can see those towers over there. Those are the towers from Twin Spires, but they look a little munged because as you go further out, Distant Horizons gets a little more freewheeling with how it renders stuff at a distance. And if you're talking about a mountain or a tree, it works. It still looks good. It still looks like a mountain or a tree. But when you're talking about something that is much more deliberate and definite, like a tower, it looks a little munged. It'll be interesting to see how this house looks from a distance using Distant Horizons. Nice, nice, nice. Now these roof pieces, as I may have mentioned before, these, I think they look better than the vanilla dark oak stair pieces, right? And hopefully, you're looking at the screen and you agree. But these particular pieces come to us from the Macaw's roof mod, and the Macaw's mods. Maybe I should do a series on those at some point. They're fabulous. They are really, really fabulous. And I don't do modded Minecraft without them. I mean, there are several mods that, in fact, if you go, I've posted the mod list for this world out on my website. And if you go to that list, if I remember, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But if you go to that mod list, right, I've broken up my mod list to in different categories, right? There's the stuff that is I have it broken up so that there's performance mods, which, as far as I'm concerned, those are part of every mod pack I use. And there are technical infrastructure mods, or those are basically the mods that are libraries and stuff that are dependencies for the other stuff. But but the bulk of the other mods are either content or immersion, right? And I broke the content up into two different types. There's the themed content, which is content that has been added specifically for the flavor or theme of the world I'm making. In this case, if it's specifically there to give this place a steampunk vibe or functionality, then it's a theme mod. But the other ones, I call them just general content. And between those general content and those immersion mods, and I guess the performance mods, you will probably find that exact same mix over and over and over again in every modded Minecraft world I play in, because I think they are what is, in my opinion, what should be vanilla behavior or content. I just need a crafting table and then build a carpenter's bench. Now, the reason I'm after this carpenter's bench is, if you remember, up there on the roof, we're getting closer to where the roof pieces meet, and at the very apex of that gable, there's a 1 block gap where I can't put in another sloping roof piece because it's in the dead center. What I need is just a block to fill the space, and I could put in a block of dark oak planks and it would look okay. But what I'm looking for here is kind of a more decorated block, a block that would go in that space and add a little bit of decoration and looks good as a single block. And I think I found it. I think that's it. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. We'll get up there, or get back up there. So if I come over here, I don't know why I went all the way around, because I really want to start on this side. Okay, set that up and go like that. And we'll look at that from the ground later, but then now I can add this cap. Oh. Must be the end of the episode. Kind of close. Not quite though. And I still have a lot of stuff I want to do before I end this. But yeah, so there are certain mods that I literally couldn't live without in modded Minecraft, and all of the Macaw's mods fit that definition. And you know, this is kind of like what I'm talking about. The way these roof pieces work together, the way they morph their behavior based on different things, how they look. I mean, because they're roof pieces, they are designed to be part of a roof. They don't really look like anything else. They look kind of like stairs, I guess. But this is the type of thing that I think Mojang should be concentrating. Definitely. I mean, they're adding content. I mean, the argument has always been, well, you know, we're trying to be backwards compatible to less performant machines. And yeah, I get that, right? So you want to keep your vanilla game as accessible to as many old and low-end machines as possible. But if that was your overriding mandate, you wouldn't... Oh, boy. Of course. If that was your overriding mandate, then you really shouldn't be adding any new content at all, because every time you add a new mob, including and perhaps especially cutesy wootsy ones, you know, you're making it that much harder for your old systems, the potatoes. So I hear that argument and I reject it. Right. Huh. Okay. I can work from down here, but it's a little awkward. Next time, jump before you start falling. Oh boy. Anyway, so this is just kind of my thing. You know, part of the work, the research I've been doing on that vintage story is also I've been looking at their mod list, right? And they actually have a pretty robust modding community and quite a number of quite a selection of good mods. And but you see, the game itself, it's being developed by a very small team. And it is pretty high quality, but it's a very small team. I mean, you know, the number of hours they can throw at this each month is limited. And so while they've done some phenomenal work, and I fully give them kudos for everything they've achieved, there's still large gaps left in their planned roadmap, right? And that's what they say. Here's all the stuff we want to do, and here's the stuff we've done. And one list, the done list, is like, you know, 1/4 the size of the to-do list. But a lot of that has already been made available through mods. But, you know, to kind of help fill in the gap. And that just shows me, and I guess I've been on this soapbox in this space before, which is, I think Mojang needs to not concentrate on being a content provider, but rather concentrate on being providing a platform that the modding community can build content on, right? So don't try to be the retailer, be the wholesaler. Give us the tools to make the economy or the modding community or added content run, and I think everybody will be happier. Now, people, I mean, the irony is that's kind of what they've done actually with Bedrock Edition, right? They actually haven't done a stellar job at making modding easier or fun there, but they've certainly made more effort there simply because in Bedrock, modders and resource pack makers, they can charge for their work, so there is a monetary incentive, and of course Microsoft gets a piece of that, so there is an incentive for them to support that, and I get that. And for better or for worse, the Java game, Minecraft Java Edition, is still, but the did he get hurt? Okay. The Java edition of the game is still free, and the modded what? So it just put me all the way back. All the way back. It's like 5 seconds, but still, come on. And not only that, you had to pick the spot where I fell. That's the part you're going to restore me to? Jerk. Oh, Java Edition. It's free. The game's not free, but mods are free, and I would say they have one of the best, well documented, and best supported modding communities and sets of mods out there. So I think that is actually an accomplishment to be proud of, but in the end, it doesn't make them money. I guess it does for new Minecraft game sales. And apparently they're still selling new copies of Minecraft, so there's that. Listening to the news in the gaming industry, the video gaming industry, right? There's a lot of flux going on out there, and a part of it is that big game companies are big companies, right? Once you get past startup phase, once you start being publicly traded, right? You might make games, or you might grow produce, or you might make cars or whatever, but in the end, the rules of the game are pretty fundamental if you're publicly traded, which is the name of the game is to provide value to your shareholders, and shareholders expect a return. Either they expect you to pay a hefty dividend on your profits, which is the way things mostly worked back in the 19th and early 20th century, or they expect you to grow your stock price, which is how most investors make their money now, is they want, they buy stock and they want the stock value to grow. And if you're not doing something that impacts one of those two things, then stockholders get upset, and stockholders vote on the people who are on the board of directors, and the board of directors has the ability to hire and fire executives, right? So the whole system is built upon keeping your shareholders happy. Now, built upon keeping your shareholders happy, but the money comes from the customers, and so decisions that would make your customers happy are often mutually exclusive to the decisions that would make your shareholders happy. And getting back to the games industry, they're going through that big time, right? These companies are making money, and in some cases they're making considerable amounts of money, right? And when you take your first business course, all it is, the idea was, here's my company, my business, here's what I spent to produce a good or service, here's how much money I brought in from the goods or service. You subtract the expenses from the revenues, what's left is profit. If anything over zero is good, and the bigger the number, the better. But with shareholders, that's not good enough, right? Like if you made 15, 20 billion dollars profit last year, they expect at least that much this time. Okay. And it's kind of tricky to constantly grow your income. And I definitely know I've yacked about this in one of my series, maybe multiple series. You can't, nothing grows forever. You can't expect unlimited growth on anything forever. And usually what happens in the stock space is eventually a company will get to a point where it can't it can still be very profitable, but it can't maintain those levels of growth. And so your shareholders get bent out of shape and they basically take their money and go elsewhere. Right? That's how the market works. And just before you get to that point, the company officers, it looks so similar. Okay. Hold on. What is this? That looks cool. Is that... Huh. No extra materials. I don't remember seeing that before. I don't think I updated the mod in ages. Maybe. Okay. Anyway. That's just how that stuff works. And so I'm speaking to you because you're consumers, like I'm a consumer. And if you don't like that, right? I mean, because that's what brings things like, this monetization schemes is what brings all these weird mechanics like loot boxes and, buy purchasable skins and all. That's what all that stuff's about, right? It's to make money, extra money, to make it more profitable. And if you as a player, that drives you nuts, it drives me nuts, then you need to be cognizant of where you spend your money, because if you partake... I jumped and then 5 seconds later I get paying for it. But if you're participating in that cycle, if you're paying money toward that stuff, you're rewarding them for the behavior, right? And they're going to keep doing it. In fact, they'll start doing it more and they'll figure out other things to do. As consumers, you have the option to reward or punish companies, and by voting with your dollars. They don't want to put it that way, and they don't want you to think that way, but that's how it works. And that's one of the reasons why, if you don't like these little games that big business plays, you should think about giving more of your money to the mom and pop stores. Now, mom and pop stores often can't offer you the same deep discounts, but then again, what is most important to you, right? I mean, if you don't have much money, then obviously you need to go where your dollar gets you the most. But if you have some money, if you have some choice in how much you spend, and you want to reward quality of service, quality of product, then you should be willing to pay a little more, right? Because you're sending a signal to the people doing the quality work, who are treating you like a customer and not, a cow to be milked. You're rewarding them, and the guys who are just milking you, you're sending a signal to them going, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I tell my kids this all the time, but they're teenagers, so when dad starts talking, it's a lot like any of the adults in a Charlie Brown cartoon, right? Wow, 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 wow. Whatever. that is the curse of getting old. And as more of you get old, you will realize more and more exactly what I'm talking about, right? Because I've been at the other end of this curse. My parents, my grandparents, older uncles, whatever, they'll tell you, hey, this is the way the world works. Here's some stuff you should learn. I learned the hard way. Wow, 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 wow. And then I get older and I relearn the lessons they tried to save me from. And they're like, oh my gosh, they knew what they were talking about. Of course, by then they're probably gone. Can't ask them about all the stuff that they told you that you ignored and now you want to learn. So you learn the hard way. Then you try to tell your kids, and then we're back to wah, 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 wah. I need more wood. So here's the other thing, right? I mean, mornings and afternoons are interchangeable, except, they're interchangeable when you look at them through the screen like this. You know, the morning sun coming through the windows, the rays. It's indistinguishable from the afternoon, except that's only in the picture, right? When you're there, you definitely... I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Put a comment. Tell me if I'm wrong. Mornings and afternoons might look exactly the same, but they have a different feel. They have a different feel. It's hard to explain. It doesn't make sense, I'm sure, but that's just a universal fact, right? All right. I've got a decent supply of food for a while. And it's time to make some windows. We'll need a lot. Not crazy lot, but like we were doing before, but definitely quite a few. And we'll need to make extras because, like I said, we'll get to those dormers. I don't know yet how many, right? So, I mean, these windows are not going to go to waste. And these panes, I think they look fabulous. These come to us courtesy of the Create mod. They very much fit the vibe of this world. And, actually they fit a lot of older worlds, right? I mean, they don't look very modern, but they certainly, like, these same glass panes wouldn't be out of place in, like, say, a Gothic cathedral, right? They'd make a great addition there. Old church. Yeah, these ends have got them, so I just need it here. Very nice. Now that was a conscious decision. There are, I also, like I said, I had the Macaw's mods, and Macaw's Windows is a whole mod dedicated to Windows, and they have some fabulous windows of their own. Now I will say this about the Macaw's mod, the Windows mod. Most of the windows have some type of action or function to them. Like you can open the window, right? And depending on the window, not only can you open it, you can probably go through it, right? So that's cool. That's the type of level of detail and immersion that I love to see in the game. This is what I'm talking about, a living, breathing world. Just like you. I mean, if you're watching this, you watch YouTube, and just like you, I watch YouTube too. And I mean, the whole point of me making the channel is making content that I would want to watch. And there is stuff that's similar, and that's the type of stuff that I watch. And a lot of times when I'm watching them, sometimes they're not playing modded Minecraft, or they are playing modded Minecraft, but yeah, it's like a vanilla plus mod. And but what they're doing is they're like, I'm going to simulate a beaver dam or a chair or a wardrobe, and they take a lot of vanilla blocks or maybe some modded blocks, but they use them in creative ways, so they have something that looks like the thing they're talking about, but it isn't really, right? In a living, breathing world, it's like a prop. It's a set piece, right? You look at this thing and it looks right, or mostly right, but you can't really do anything functional with it, not in the way it's intended. Like chairs, we go ahead and plop down a stair piece and some signs, and here we go. We have a nice little comfy chair, except you can stand on it all day long. You can't actually sit in it. And so, you get furniture mods and stuff where you actually have tables and chairs that function as tables and chairs. That's awesome. Going back to Vintage Story, right? They that's the type of thing that they have built in up front. Yes, they have some generic blocks you can build with, but they have furniture pieces that are actual furniture pieces. Now, something they have about that game that just floored me. I haven't played with it much yet. I mean, because that is a dangerous rabbit hole, but they have built in the ability to chisel blocks. And what that means is I know that there's mods for Minecraft that let you chisel blocks that basically take my 1x1 block and essentially break it down into 16 by 16 by 16 or 32 by 32 by 32 or whatever, and etch pieces out of it so that you can create almost any type of shape that is much smoother, more granular than the native Minecraft block, right? Well, they have that built into the vanilla game, and where it comes in really amazingly handy. If you do some searches on videos, there's some guys out there that really go to town with this chiseling, and they take it even one step further. Not only can you knock pieces out of a block, so you can make that block any shape you want, you can take materials from different block and do some mix and match of the individual voxels that you're working on in your block, and that is crazy awesome, right? So I saw a guy, he was building a house. It was actually more like a fortified tower with his original house attached to it. But he had where you go in, it was wood, but he had carved out like this face, right? Like a minotaur type face or whatever. But then he carved that out, but then he turned around and replaced those voxels with like a dark stone material. So you had essentially this inlaid stone face in this wooden facade, and it looked cool. And that wasn't a mod, that's the vanilla game, right? So it helped sell me on the value of the game. I don't know how I'm going to get. So what I want to do, that part, so I've built most of the gabled roofs that'll be gabled, but you see, if I continue to fill up this space, the roof will get higher and higher, and I don't want that. So most of the space is in fact going to be filled up with flat roof, right? So from the ground level, you look up and everything will look great. And from the top, it won't look bad either. But to get up there, I don't have scaffolding yet. I haven't found any bamboo. So I'll use a dirt elevator. A coarse dirt elevator. Of course. And then we can start filling up this space. I'll need a working crafting table up here. And I need some planks. Yeah, I'll separate them again. Okay. So I need those. Let's see if I can get this to go all the way across. Can I reach it? No. Too far. Can I just reach out here and see if I can extend it one? Kind of. Can I reach it? Nope. Well, I dare not stretch further, lest I fall. I don't mind this though. Let's see if I can do it this way. Right. Oh, too tall. Too tall. Too much. So let's start filling in with just good old planks. There you go. I gotta finish this roof. Minus the dormers. But that's just, I gotta. So, my apologies if this episode's running just a little bit long. But, I mean, we're so close. This is tantalizingly close. I got to get this done. As I said in Real Genius, it's a moral imperative. If you haven't seen Real Genius, you got to see Real Genius. It's an awesome movie. Old 80s movie. It's an interesting story behind how it got made. It was, back in this is the era of movies like Porky's and, all kind of R-rated raunch films. And that's how this movie was supposed to have been. But when they brought in a new director, she kind of morphed it into something very different. And I'm glad she did, because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. There's a little bit of raunch to it, but mostly it's just funny as all get out. And being one of Of course, I'm down and I need just one. But I can only make 2 at a time. I'm sure I'll find a use for it someplace. Anyway, I don't remember what I was going to say. It was about Real Genius, but anyhow, it's a great movie. You should see it. It's surprisingly, I would have thought it was one of those movies that would be free to stream, right? So you have like the big name movies, you want to watch Titanic or something, it's always going to be on a streaming service and you're going to have to pay for it, right? Because it's a tentpole pick, right? It's a major property, major piece of IP. There we go. The end of the episode's got a ring. There we go. Like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that movie's 40 plus years old, and yet it's never available for free streaming. You're gonna have to, and not even just free streaming. It's very rarely available as part of a regular subscription. It's almost always available as a one-off rent, right? You can get it on Amazon or Apple, but you're gonna have to rent it for $3.99 or whatever. But Real Genius is one of those movies that would appear on a streaming service or especially one of the free streaming services that, there you go watch it as often as you want. And yet, it never is. So, maybe the contracting and marketing powers that be feel the same way about the movie that I do. That'd be nice. Well, not nice, because then I have to pay to see it. But I don't have to pay to see it. I got it on DVD, so... Now, I want to find a space over here on the side to show you the completed roof without the dormers, right? This is what I've been talking about. Look at all that real estate. I mean, it's all beautiful and professionally done, but it's too much uninterrupted space and texture. And so we need to break that up with the dormers. So that's what we're going to do next time, or the time after that. I mean, I've been working on this roof for a long time. I think next time we might want to focus on the storage. We could really use the storage now. But, I mean, it's raining, but we can still take a gander at the completed roof. I know there's some eaves that that I missed. When you go back and edit these videos after the fact, you see your mistakes. But look at that. Look, that's essentially... the shell is 95% done. And I think that wraps it up for this time. So I really want to thank you for viewing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you already are a subscriber, or better yet, if you're already a channel member, then double, triple, and quadruple thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you come back for the next episode. And until then, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.